Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm at a railway station and here we have a train. It's not going anywhere. This is the Pallot Steam and General Museum in Jersey. So Jersey is known for not having any railways, but it has, although it's not actually running at the moment. Here we have a train here which you at one point could have a ride on, although we won't be having a ride today, but we can look around the museum. And there's a little Pallot steam locomotive which hauled the train. So it'd have been quite fun a few years ago if you'd come here and had a ride, but today it's still an interesting museum, although interestingly, looks like at one point they were towing the steam loco with that around, which, so then if you were to do that, you couldn't claim the steam loco for haulage, but you could claim that for haulage, so that's a bit unusual. So this is the only operating, or the only railway station in Jersey where you can find a train. Go in here, there's a bit of an exhibition on the old Jersey Railway, which, or the Jersey Railway and the Jersey Eastern Railway. They were the two most well-known railways, two civilian railways on Jersey, which I will explore in another video. So it's an exhibition on that. So if you do come here, got some quite interesting pictures to look at. We're now going to go and look around the rest of the museum and see what else we can see. So if you come into here, you have this huge hall of cars, everything, cars, trains, various other engines, all sorts of interesting exhibits. So what we'll do, we'll have a look around here, we'll have a look at everything and just see what there is really, because it's a really interesting museum. I always say there's no railways on Jersey, well there is here. So we have a nice lineup of classic cars. I don't necessarily know all of them, but also recognise things like Citroen 2CVs, a couple of old Renaults there. More interesting, there's steam locos behind them. We'll have a look at them closer when we get there, although we get quite a nice view of them here with the backdrop of the cars. There's a Morgan, and I think that's a Vanden Par. It's quite an exciting place. Just mention this gentleman here, Don Pallot. He's the gentleman who set up the Railway Museum. He passed away in 1996, but he was an engineer on the original Jersey Railway. So he then set up this museum. Let's go and have a look at some of the steam locos. So they've got 3 steam locos here. There was the Pallot one outside, a couple of lorries, and another vintage lorry, traction engine. There's this one here, steam locomotive built by Bagnall over in Stafford. You see Bagnall engines in various other railways around the country. This one actually ran at the Foxfield Railway at one point, but now it was then bought here. I think it did work here at one point, but it's now on display in the museum here. The next loco is a sister to the one outside, another Pallot saddle tank steam locomotive. And then the next loco is something a bit different. It was built in Belgium, and it worked in Belgium before being brought over to Jersey by the museum's founder. We'll go have another closer look. What's quite interesting, what I like looking at, is the works plate, so you can sort of get information by looking at a works plate as to how old it is and formally identify a loco. So its works number 2450, and it's built in Stafford. J.T. Daly, his name is. We'll go down here, and here is that Pallot loco. So if we have a look on the works plate, you can see, so it's built in 1948 2085, and then the next one, the one built in Belgium, this one here, she's a bit different. She has her works locomotive, her works plate on the front. Have a look at that. She was built in reading it off there, she was built in 1931. So it's quite interesting. I always like it when you find something just a little bit different. And then behind her, there's this company she worked for in Liège. Behind her is a old railway carriage. There's also another carriage over there, carriage body at least. They've got 3 carriages here. There's also a narrow gauge railway that's not currently running. We'll have a look at that in a minute. There's a model of an incinerator there, an architectural model. Here we have big American Cadillac, and then something more closer to home, a Morris Traveller, one of my favourite cars. Really nice to see a Morris traveller, two tractors, and then round here we have the famous Mini, which you see just about everywhere. There's a Morris pickup there. What we'll do, we'll go around the downstairs and then we'll go around the upstairs. Here we have various different stationary engines. I don't know too much about them, but they're quite interesting to see. I think that's a Morris Oxford Estate, that car there. More stationary engines, some model stationary engines. I'll look out the window. You can see a narrow gauge railway, which also isn't running. Oh, and right over there, that's the camera's picking it out. Put a picture in now. Diesel locomotive. So whether that'll ever be nice to think that could be restored one day. Some modern traction engines. So it really is quite a varied museum. All sorts of different exhibits to see. More tractors. That's quite cool. I've always wanted to have a go in one of those. A mini moke. Big, not too sure what these are, but big army trucks. My knowledge on trucks and everything, on tractors, isn't as great as it is on railways, but interesting to see. It seems to come down to the musical end of the museum. They have organs, upstairs there's a load of pianos, which we'll have a look at shortly. There's an organ here, that's come out of a church. That's the sort of old, like cinema organs used to get. More vehicles, which is interesting to see. Various other engines of sorts. Come down here, it's more like a garage now. And then we have some, well, they're steam rollers, but diesel rollers. Here's some proper steam rollers, look at those. And then here we have fire engine, so St Helier Fire Brigade. So once upon a time there was a fire. You can see this coming down the street to put your fire out. So very exciting to see. Some Fords, an Escort I think, an Anglia and a Cortina. So very interesting to see in the van is a Thames van. There's a boiler here, a vertical boiler. Not quite sure what that's of. Here's a Rolls-Royce engine. Well, this is an Rolls-Royce jet engine section, so you can see inside. Let's go upstairs now and we'll have a look at everything when we get up there. So as we go up the stairs, we're going back to basically where we started. If we look over there, you can see all three steam locos together, and then just sat outside there is the fourth steam loco on the station platform. We're going to follow the path up here now. Lots of interesting pictures on the wall. You could spend quite a lot of time studying them. Have a look at Jersey. So that's St Helier, the capital. We're about up here somewhere, so sort of in the middle of Jersey. The old railway, the Jersey Railway sort of went across here. The Jersey Eastern Railway and went around there. But videos on the old Jersey railways will be in a separate video. Come up here, we now get a rather good view of all the classic cars on display. So I expect up here we'll find some smaller exhibits once we've come up this long slope. What we're going to see more on Jersey motor history. There's an old little chopper, little bikes, chopper bikes, and various other children's cars. I used to have a car a bit like that. I still have somewhere. I like that little Austin, they're quite cool. We've got various sewing machines, Singer sewing machines from Glasgow. That's always quite interesting to see. We have rocking horses, prams, bicycles, penny farthings. It's quite an interesting place. Oh, there's another nice model traction engine there. Model fire engines, some model cars down there. It's an interesting model of Lacolette power station, Jersey's power station. I think they've since rebuilt it. The chimneys you still see. You can see inside, see all the turbine halls. I believe it's either oil or gas powered. I don't think it's coal. It certainly isn't nuclear anyway. But so that's Lacolette power station. So when you come in, when you're in St Helier, if you look if you're looking out on the bay and you look to the left, you see a big chimney. That's Lacolette power station. Here we have various other trailers and so on. No, they've got them up here because we're upstairs. So must be a bit of a job getting them up here. Various other farming equipment. As I was saying about music, there's the looking down on the cinema organ down there. This one I think came out of the church. And here we have a load of pianos and a load of radios. So really quite a varied selection of exhibits at this museum. Another organ in front of me. Get round here and find other things. Lights, gas lights. Oh no, oil lamps, sorry. Collection of oil lamps. And then here we have a collection of lawnmowers. So I don't know much about lawnmowers. I sometimes quite enjoy knowing the lawn. Various other more sort of ploughing machines, farming machines. Get a nice view over the museum from up here. So the railway, the ride you get on when it runs, it would start there, the standard gauge line, over there, and it would go in a big circle right round and along the back of that field. So in a way it's a bit like a full-size Hornby train set. It's that kind of classic oval. But down below us there's the narrow gauge line which runs on a smaller oval. So the smaller oval's within the field, the outer oval goes around the building we're in as well. So it'd be nice to think one day they could get it up and running. I'll certainly come back if they do to get the track and get a loco for haulage. Or lathes now. So yeah, quite an interesting collection. That's a big wooden barrel. I'm not quite sure if it's one of the fire vehicles or not, but it's huge, that is. And then go past here, see the back of those three Fords, the Escort, the Anglia and the Cortina. And more exhibits. Little model railway which you put a coin in, and this little Hornby train will go round. And then if we look out the window here, you can see where the railway goes. So basically it goes round that field. You can see over there. I said there is a diesel loco. So I think we've pretty much seen everything now at this museum. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're in Jersey and you would like to come and visit this video and you don't have a car, like to come visit this museum, you don't have a car with you, I suggest get bus number 5 from the main bus station St Helier, and then you get off just past the village. I think the village is called Sion, it's spelled S-I-O-N. You get off past that village and then you just walk up the lane. It's about a mile up the lane, but it's a flat mile, no sorry, half a mile. It'll be a mile round trip by the time you walk there and back. So it's a very interesting museum. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please do feel free to like, subscribe and comment. And from the Pallot Steam and General Museum, goodbye.